Welcome to Sit and See. I'm Dr. Jared Jones. My research specialties are ancient systems of meditation, the cognitive science of meditation, and a few other things that aren't particularly relevant to this class today. So, exciting news. Those of you who are new, of course, will know how this class goes. We do question and answer for the first 10, 15 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, and then we do some practice together. So that's how things are set up. Also, very exciting news. I've been talking with Neil Ripsky, who was the first guest on the Two Truths podcast, and we are very, very close now to launching lohanpalm.com. We have pre-signups available, and we're taking feedback from people on a couple of different things. So one thing we're trying to figure out is, for the people that are interested, how how competent are you already in physical stuff that's sort of like this? Chinese internal martial arts, Qigong, Neigong, things of this nature. The other thing that we're interested in getting some feedback on is the way that we're structuring the course is a way that, a number of other prominent internal martial arts schools and so forth have structured their online material, which is that every week you'll get a video that's probably between 5 and 10 minutes, but has a great deal of information and exercises that you'll do for the following week, or add on to what you're doing, or we'll add another layer to what you're already doing in the practice. And so along with those, probably there'll be other stuff along the way that drops in there, where you'll get a couple videos or video and resources or whatever as time goes on. And as I mentioned earlier, also when you get to the meditation portion of his system, my material, which is already available for free, but nonetheless will be included there, sort of probably as one big drop of information, just so that you have it there amongst the materials for his training system. So for those of you who are interested in adding so in the pre-signups, in the link I have in the chat, lohanpalm.com, the pre-signups, we're asking sort of how competent are you in other stuff? And then we're also asking what prices do you think are fair? And, we really do want people to sign up, stay signed up, and we want, over the next 10 years, a few people to really take this lineage on and become lineage holders in this lineage, right? It's just way too precious to go out of existence in general. But also, for those of you who don't know, the geniuses of a couple thousand years poured every ounce of their being into trying to figure out, how do you get the absolute maximum benefit out of your physical work, your energetic work, and your work on the cushion. And that's what Lohan is. That's what the Lohan system is. And in my experience, having trained in yoga and having trained in a number of other things, physical things, including a number of other martial arts, there is just so much depth to these systems. I mean, I was talking with somebody about it today, one of the students in the school course, and he was starting to have some experiences from doing body scanning. And I just had to straight up tell him, you can go so far down the rabbit hole looking at your physical body and understanding how to use the body to benefit your practice. I mean, it's a very, very deep thing. In any case, I would be absolutely overjoyed if some people who are doing my material also started training in Neil's stuff, because it's going to help you. It'll keep you healthier longer. It'll keep you healthier into old age. It'll make your seated practice more profound. And as I've said before, I do these kinds of practices myself, which is why I'm so keen on them. Yeah? Okay. Well, having said all of that, for those of you who are interested, pre-signups are open now. It doesn't cost anything to pre-sign up. We're just seeing what the level of interest is, number one, and we're getting a little bit of feedback on pricing that people would think is fair, and what level of skill people are bringing in the door, so that he knows, especially in those first 10, 20 videos, how much ground he needs to cover to make sure that he's not leaving people behind. Okay. So lots of activity in the chat now. Let's see. Hello, Sweet and Sour. Hello, Data. Jonathan, hello. Oates, good to see you. Jay. Kazapua. I'm not sure I've seen you on the stream before, but happy to have you. Hans, good to see you. Glad to have y'all here. Can you tell I spent 10 years in the South? Anytime I start being hospitable, I start saying y'all. Earth Wombat, welcome. Good to see you again. So I think I'm going to talk a little bit, since no questions have come in. I'm going to talk a little bit about what physical stuff. From Nambia. Wonderful, wonderful. You would be, as far as I know, Kazapua, you would be my first student from Nambia. I have a couple of students in Nigeria and one student in South Africa, but I don't think I have any students in Nambia at the moment. And I am quite keen, actually. I don't know why. Ancestry.com, I think, says I have 1% genes from West Africa, somewhere along the western coast of Africa. I'm not sure which country. I'm not sure even they know, but I have a little bit of genetic heritage from there, and also South India. I don't know where that came from, but there's something in me feels very connected to the African continent, and has since I was quite young. And I have a strong desire to see the Dharma enter into Africa and to benefit people on the African continent. So very, very happy to have you here. There's just not a lot of Dharma and not a lot of meditation teachings across the African continent and African countries in general. And yeah, makes me happy to see you here. Okay. Data, YouTube highlight of the week. Well, I'm glad to hear that. John Jedi signing up for the new site. Yeah. Go, everyone who's interested. I'm going to talk a little bit about the physical and energetic stuff today that I don't normally talk about, just to get you excited about the stuff I'm not going to teach you. Because it's so beneficial. So beneficial. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Let's see. Jonathan has a question. Are there questions for bolstering resolve? Are there methods for bolstering resolve? Yeah. Yeah. There are. And that's a very astute question. You don't actually know how astute that question is. When you go to the great texts on training and meditation, what they say is, if you want to be successful in meditation, you're a human being, okay? You're going to have to motivate yourself to do something that most of the time is going to suck, right? Yeah, as you get better at it, it's going to make you feel great and it'll start to sustain itself. But up until then, which is going to be a while, you have to have reasons, actually. Reasons, real reasons. You need to have thought through and be completely convinced that doing this is worth the time, the effort, the pain, and so on and so forth. And simply doing it because you feel slightly better, which is why a lot of people do it, isn't powerful enough to take you really deep in the practice. You know, it's good enough to get you started, but it's not enough to take you way down the road. So yeah, this is a huge subject in the training of meditation. How do you motivate yourself to do the practice? And the first sort of very common sense advice is you train yourself by thinking through the benefits you're going to get from the practice and thinking through the consequences of not doing the practice. Right? It's pretty straightforward. As a normal human being, if you sit down and you really, you get out a piece of paper and you think about what will happen for the rest of my life if I don't do these practices. Well, my mind's going to be less under control. I'm going to be more subject to anger. I'm going to be more subject to arrogance. I'm going to be more subject to chasing shiny things that I think will make me happy that I know won't actually make me happy. So, what does that mean? That means I'm going to waste my life. I'm going to waste my whole fucking life chasing shit that doesn't matter. And I'm going to, not only that, along the way, I'm going to hurt a huge number of people because I'm not under control. So, the consequences of not doing this are massive. So when I tell you guys, sit down and place every ounce of your attention on your breath as if everything is riding on it, I'm not speaking with hyperbole. Everything is riding on your ability to control what your mind does, because every decision you're going to make the rest of your life comes from your mind, right? So your ability to control where your mind goes, what it does, how long it stays there, what mental state occurs while it's there, will determine the entire course of the rest of your entire motherfucking life. Right? So when I say meditate like your life depends upon it, I'm not joking. Every relationship you have, every job you work, everything else you want to accomplish in life will be improved by doing this, and everything else in life will be damaged or made less by not doing this. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at your life up to this point. Isn't it true that most of the things that have gotten screwed up in your life happened because you got too angry, or you got too attracted to shiny stuff that didn't actually matter by the time you got to the end of the process, or that you were too arrogant, or that you didn't have enough willpower, or that it got too hard and you quit before you got the results that you should have gotten by doing what you were doing? All of this stuff, yes, other people hurt you. Yes, the world sucks sometimes. But all the stuff you could control got screwed up because you were out of control, didn't it? Think about it. Think about it. And the older you get, the more you'll realize this is true. It's harder when you're young, I think. But by the time you're probably 25 and you've been through some stuff, maybe 30, you go, yeah, that's right. My weaknesses are my own biggest enemy in this lifetime, not other people. So you think this through and you go, wow, everything else, to put it in colloquial terms, is going to suck if I don't do this with every ounce of my being. At least when I'm sitting down to actually do it formally, I need to be putting 100% of what I've got into this because it matters. It's going to change everything else if I succeed at this. And it's going to change everything else if I don't succeed at this. If I don't become consistent, if I don't put in the work, everything else will be less. You understand? Because when you could have had a mind that was calm in a situation where you needed it to be calm, it won't be calm. When you needed the mind to be humble, it was arrogant. When you needed the mind to be patient, it was frustrated and angry. When you needed the mind to have willpower to get through the difficulty and drive through the pain of something that was really uncomfortable that you had to deal with, it was weak, and you did stupid stuff to get over the weakness, instead of dealing with the difficulty, seeing your way through and getting through it and gaining accomplishment in whatever you were doing, right? So everything actually is riding on this. You see it? And so if you're getting a feeling right now in your sort of, usually our emotions sort of start here in the center of the chest, let that feeling become bigger and take you over. Let that feeling become bigger and take you over in the same way that outrage takes you over, right? Or unbelievable lust, when you see that, like that for you, whatever it is, that perfect thing that causes lust for you and totally overwhelms you. Let that feeling overwhelm you. until it's so powerful you have to do something, right? And then hold it with concentration. And this is called rumination meditation, by the way, Foundation 5. You think it through. You think it through until a new attitude comes up, and then you use concentration and you hold the attitude. It matters. If you don't do this, everything else will be worse. If you do this, everything else will be better. Let that feeling fill you up. If you don't do this, you're going to hurt a lot of people for the rest of your life, because you're not in control of yourself. It won't even be your decision. You're just going to follow a course through life that hurts other people, including people you care about. How do you know? Because you already do that, right? And it's not going to magically get better as you get older. It matters. Getting your ass on the cushion to do the practice matters. Getting your butt to the desk to read the book matters, so that you can understand what you're doing. Getting to the Dharma Center so that you can take teachings from a realized being, hopefully, at the Dharma Center, depending on what Dharma Center it is. It matters. Because everything else is actually riding on this. The stakes are incredibly high. Yeah, see, I'm 40. I'm right up there with you. I'm right up there with you. And this is the thing, you know, there are actually really, really good ruminations. If you know how to do rumination, Foundation 5, in the way that I teach these techniques, if you know how to do rumination, there are so many fantastic public speakers and things. I mean, there are guys and girls they make a career out of this, of trying to make you realize that actually taking personal responsibility to do all this stuff makes everything better, not worse. You know? In any case. So this is how you motivate yourself. And it's this one, whatever that was, 5-minute rumination, it's not going to change everything. You need to spend time again and again ruminating on this, thinking it through, reading the reasons, having the emotion come up, marinating yourself in the emotion of, yes, I have to do this. It really matters. There's a purpose to all of this that extends across all my other activities. And we haven't even talked yet about nirvana or enlightenment or your next rebirth. We're just talking about this life. Do we even need to mention, if rebirth is real, for those of you who are new and skeptical, just say if rebirth is real. Maybe you don't even believe in karma. Maybe you just have a vague sense that, yeah, life probably carries on after you die. Don't you think that if you hurt a bunch of people and do a bunch of stupid stuff and chase around your impulses to do the worst possible things you could have done, that's going to have some effect on where you go next? Like we don't even have to get specific. But how could that take you somewhere good, right? It's already taking you bad places right now. How could it take you somewhere good in your next life, if there is one? You see it? So doing this practice on the cushion is taking you somewhere better, potentially, probably, even in the next life. How do you know? Well, if we just extrapolate from what we can see from here, when I have virtuous states of mind, when my mind is doing good things, when it's concentrated, humble, compassionate, loving, discerning, wise, when it has perseverance, when it has willpower, when it doesn't get angry, right? When it's patient, I go better places, even now. And according to the great masters, roughly speaking, that's just what you die and you just keep doing whatever you've done, roughly, right? I mean, it's very rough. You're just going to carry on with the habits you've already had. So if you're going bad places now because of your stuff here and now, you're going to continue going bad places in the future, right? This just stands to reason if there's no higher being controlling it all. If it's just your habits taking you to the next thing, which is what basically what Buddhism says. Yes, there are other beings that can help you, potentially, but mostly what helps you is to train your mind. You see it? So it matters in terms of your next rebirth. If you want to attain nirvana, it goes without saying, you need to train your mind. You need to sit on your cushion. You need to gain concentration. You need to gain vipassana. You need to go do some retreats. You need to study so you understand what the hell you're doing. Or you're not going to attain nirvana. That's for sure. If you want to attain Buddhahood, you have to climb the ladder to nirvana and then have enough compassion, mahakaruna, and bodhicitta, the mind that desires to attain enlightenment to remove the suffering of all beings, to not enter into personal nirvana and instead go into non-abiding nirvana and continue climbing the ladder up to enlightenment. Which, according to one of my teachers, I mean, just imagine someone was going to give you $1 billion. $1 billion. But the only caveat was you can go to an island where you get everything you want, but nobody else gets to benefit from your money whatsoever. Not your family, not your friends, no one. That you get a state that's absolutely perfect for you, but if your mother gets cancer, you can't help. If your father is dying from some terrible disease, you're not allowed to help. Your best friend for years gets in a car accident, needs surgeries, needs this, needs that, needs money to just survive, or they're going to be in a terrible situation. You can't help. Right? Can you stomach this? Can you stomach a state that's perfect for you, but doesn't benefit others? I mean, according to the great saints, like if you could experience what nirvana, the mental state of nirvana is like, it would be no question. You would take the $1 billion, You would take the state that's absolutely perfect for you because it's perfect. It's what you've always wanted. So you need a powerful motivation, actually, as we just did in brief. Did you notice? There's a powerful motivation to think, what about all these other beings who are still suffering that are so precious to me? You need this powerful motivation to pull you back up out of that state of nirvana to carry on, of abiding nirvana, and into non-abiding nirvana to carry on towards Buddhahood. Okay, right. How do you get that? Get on your cushion. Do your training. So you want to go to Buddhahood? You need to do your training. You want to go to nirvana? You need to do your training. You want to have a better rebirth? You need to do your training. You want to have a better life in this life, even if you don't believe in all the rest of that stuff? You need to do your training. You see it? So this is how you start to motivate yourself to get to the cushion. You want to gain a state in which you can benefit all beings instead of sometimes hurting them, sometimes helping them. You need to do your training. Okay. I've left a lot of things in the chat, so let me okay. Can meditation worsen your experience of life? It's interesting. One of my teachers used to say, actually, that your Dharma training will ruin all your good times, which what he meant by good times was sort of like, if you used to enjoy playing video games all the time, and you used to enjoy watching 100 movies back to back, and you used to enjoy going out to the bar and getting drunk and whatever, it's going to ruin those experiences for you. It's going to ruin the good times. Or if you think that, I don't know, some young men, they think, oh, just chasing women around, that's good enough. And some young women too, just sort of like, if I can be, or just if I can be popular, or if I can get enough money. Of course you need enough money to survive, and training and being alive and all this stuff costs money, so you need money. But people who think, oh yeah, if I can just get enough money to have the best toys before I die, your training will ruin that idea for you. So, so in a short term sense, yeah, sometimes, like, a lot of things you used to enjoy, or they start to feel sort of hollow, and you have to adjust to that. You have to adjust to the new clarity of perception that you have about what's going on and what you're doing and what matters. Yeah, that is a real thing. Okay. Do you think having a home meditation altar can help with meditation? Yeah, it can. Um, so if you have images, for example, on an altar. Sorry, a bee flew in, and he landed over somewhere. Speaking of holy images, landed by an image of my teacher, I think. Oh, there it is. Can you hear it or see it? Okay. So it can help because it inspires you. And if you're Buddhist and you believe in karma and merit and this sort of thing, having holy images around and just seeing them regularly, to say nothing of actually making offerings, doing prostrations, and so forth, can increase your good qualities and create a lot of good karma. But also things like um, making offerings is increasing the quality of generosity. Prostrating is increasing the quality of humility. So there are a number of things that you do with your altar that are practices that are actually increasing a good quality in your mind as you do those practices from day to day. So, since having a mind that isn't as stuck and clinging to your um, the idea that you're just keeping everything for yourself, right? Just keeping everything for yourself, that somehow this is going to make you happy. By making offerings, you do damage to that feeling. You do damage to that idea. And same thing if you think, oh, I'm the smartest, I'm the biggest, I'm the best, I'm the whatever. But you can bring yourself to do prostrations in front of the image of a being, at least one being you think has more good qualities than yourself, or is more admirable than you are. Then this can increase your humility, right? So then these become practices where you're deliberately cultivating certain states of mind, that when you go to sit down to meditate, now, because the mind is more humble, is less attached, is whatever, uh, the quality of your mind has been better throughout the day, and that'll help your actual practice. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Holding the attitude is like what you do with metta. Yeah. So rumination meditation, you generate a state of mind, or you generate an understanding of something, and then you hold it with concentration. So I teach this as the fifth thing that I teach, because to do it really well, it helps to have already made the mind extremely calm and extremely focused. It also helps if you've had some experience of what consciousness is like. Because then, when you're trying to meditate, for example, on humility, humility means you've generated the mental condition into a state of humility. It's your mind has become humble, right? So your mind is now mixed with this quality of humility, And to meditate on it effectively, that's a formless object like your consciousness. It's a formless object. So to hold that with concentration is actually kind of difficult. And not only is it a formless object, they call it a subjective object. In other words, you've generated your own mental state into a particular condition, and then you're trying to hold that condition with the same mind. The same mind that is in the condition is trying to hold and maintain the condition. So this is actually not an easy thing to do. But yes, it's very much like generating metta, or, it's very, very hard to generate metta. Very, very difficult to generate metta, but probably if you're reading a prayer where you're saying, may all beings have good health, may they have food, may there be no war, you're probably generating goodwill, which is not metta yet, but it helps, But same thing, generating the mind into a state of goodwill or metta is a formless object of meditation in which the subject has become the object that you're meditating upon. And since your mind is the thing doing the meditating, again, it's actually not, when you look at it carefully, it's not a beginner's sort of activity. So this is why I put it at stage 5 of the trainings that I teach people, because to do it really effectively, it would help if you can already place your mind on something that's pretty easy to place it on and hold it there. It would help if you've done body scanning and some other stuff so that your mind's pretty calm. It would help if you've already done something like Mahamudra practices so that your mind isn't chasing around a whole bunch of other stuff and you can pull it inside and just meditate on consciousness. And then you're meditating in the way that I teach it. You meditate on the contents of consciousness for a while. And so if you have some practice meditating on the contents of consciousness and meditating on consciousness itself, then meditating on humility, where the mind is in a formless condition, and holding itself in a state of humility, which is a little bit to do with mental content and a little bit to do with consciousness itself. Well, you already have those skills. You've built those up systematically, right? I mean, this probably all sounds pretty boring and technical, but as have said many times, there's a bit of method to the madness in terms of why I've put things in the order that I have and why I've included the details that I have in the practices that I've put together. Okay. So, in terms of navigating rebirth, that's a bit outside the purview of today's class, but I'll go there very briefly. If you ask the Theravadan tradition, and I actually do take their word for it on this one, if you have more mindfulness, and you can control in this life where your mind is going and what mental states are occurring, then through the middle period where you're sort of, if for lack of a better term, deciding or determining where you're going, because it's much, much easier to get pulled by your inclinations in that condition for various reasons. If you'd like to know how weird the intermediate state is, just go on YouTube and listen to like 10 or 20 near-death experiences and listen to how disorienting it is for people when their mind leaves their body, and when mental activity has the potential to arise as an entire physical environment where simply thinking about being in a place, you appear there, where sometimes the mind has the ability to know objects occurring in 2 different places or 3 different places at the same time, where simply thinking, what's the bottom of the ocean like, puts you on the bottom of the ocean and you're experiencing what's down there, right? Where other beings from Deva realms, from hell realms, from spirit realms, from all sorts of places appear to you. Now, whether or not those are just psychological or not is actually besides the point. The real point is, think about how disorienting and shocking this is going to be if you don't have the ability to make your mind abide comfortably with whatever happens to appear in front of your mind. In other words, Mahamudra, right? If you can have your senses open and you can make your mind still and it doesn't matter what appears, well, now, whatever appears, you can still decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to go this way instead of that way. I'm not going to run away from this thing, or I am going to, maybe I shouldn't follow that, follow follow whatever that is. I'm going to go this way, or you know what I mean. You just have much more decision making power. And then hopefully, with a bit of luck, if you, to speak about the home altar again, if you've made connections with holy beings and powerful beings, from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective, in particular, if you have tantric empowerment, your gurus, if they're realized people and not ordinary people, they can help you in the intermediate state. So you're not doing it alone. They can help take you to the next place. So this is one of the benefits of tantric approaches to stuff. Okay. Kazapua, you don't have to give up smoking. You don't. I probably shouldn't say this. The first time that I had really, really sort of shockingly strong understanding of selflessness for the first time. I mean, the first time. Well, no, sorry. It was maybe the second or third time, but it hadn't happened in a long time in between. I was sitting on my porch smoking a cigar at the time. So, don't smoke weed. If you're going to drink, try to be responsible about it. Probably you could give up drinking too if it wasn't something you felt you needed to do socially or whatever. But cigarettes and cigars, I've heard some teachers say like you absolutely have to give this stuff up and blah blah blah. But take your time. Like it'll be much easier to give up smoking when your mind is much better under control. Like within a couple years, you'll save a lot of money. But again, I've heard some things here and there that it's bad and from different teachers and whatever. But it's such a side issue. There's 10 non-virtues described in the Buddhist canon. None of them is smoking. Smoking's not on the list. By the way, your diet is not on the list either, unless you happen to be killing things. Then you should stop killing to eat. Don't kill any living beings. Don't ask other people to kill living beings for you. You can purchase your meat at the grocery store, according to the Buddha, roughly speaking. But you shouldn't be killing stuff or asking others to kill on your behalf. Like if you go to a restaurant and they say, "Do you want to get the pasta with clams in it?" And you know that they're going to, as soon as you make that order, they're going to kill a dozen living beings. Don't order the pasta with clams, right? Okay. In any case, there are 10 things the Buddha said you need to really pay attention to. And by the way, there are also 5 or 6 major emotional issues that you have that you need to be paying attention to. Things like exaggerating the positive qualities of things, exaggerating the negative qualities of things, being really jealous, being really arrogant, having deluded kinds of doubt about your life. Some doubts are okay, but when doubts aren't based upon anything, how many of you, you can't raise your hands, right? But raise your hand if you've had doubts about stuff for no reason that have stopped you from doing things that are important. You have a huge number of other things you need to deal with. Don't worry about your smoking. At some point, you can put down the smoking, but it's not on the hit parade of 10 things you need to be paying attention to. It's not on the hit parade of the 5 internal things you need to be paying attention to. So, yeah, at some point, you can deal with it. It'd probably be better, but you don't have to worry about it too much. Do your practice. That's the main thing. Okay. Hans, thank you so much for sending a super chat through. Since we've got some people in the stream now, I will say this. Very close now to having the full setup complete for the live streaming and video content editing, blah, 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 to be able to do all this with everyone for the foreseeable future. I still need about, I think, 150 pounds or so to finish setting up, and then we're all set up and I probably won't need to upgrade anything for 2 or 3 years, is what I'm thinking. So um, I'm probably going to have super chat goals on at least until the end of the month. Um, Also, as you guys already know, I survive on donations. I do this 80 or 100 hours a week, and um, I don't want to do anything else. I want to keep doing this. I want to keep helping people with stuff. But just to break even for this month, for example, I still need to raise something like £900. So I'm quite a ways away still from being able to fully survive doing this with all of you and for all of you. So if it's within your means and within your heart, and there's some benefit in what you're doing, please do click one of the links below, provide whatever you can. Super chats are great and convenient, but YouTube takes 30%. And if you do it on an iPhone, Apple takes another 30%. If you send money through PayPal or Venmo, almost 100% goes to me. If you send money through the GoFundMe, you can slide the slider down and almost 100% goes to me, which I think is what you intend by sending money to me, right? Not that it goes to a tech company, but that it goes to me. So in any case, if it's within your means and so forth, and you'd like me to be able to carry on doing this, please contribute whatever you can, so that I can shut up about the money stuff, which I hate talking about anyway, and carry on doing the more beneficial stuff. Okay. Don't see the links. Should be in the description of the video. If it's not, one of the moderators can pop it into the chat. And I would recommend PayPal or Venmo first. And if that doesn't work, then do the GoFundMe. So Hans asked if I could do a video series about meditation for beginners. So I'm actually partway through something like that. So if you go to the stages of the path, I'm working on formatting. I still don't quite like the formatting, and you'll see it was pretty, there's a couple different formats I've used. I'm still refining it, but stages of the path, Lamrim teachings are suitable for beginners, and they take you through the whole process of training on the path. And so I'm working my way through the middle length Lamrim by Pavanka Rinpoche, a commentary on the middle length Lamrim by Pavanka Rinpoche. And so that's going to have a lot more information on training in general, just beyond sort of just the 5 techniques, but actually walking down the path. And in terms of general meditation stuff, if you go to the meditation and mindfulness, what am I trying to say? Playlist on my channel, that has the 5 foundations videos there. So all that material's there for free. If you wanted to have a way to donate to me each month, if you go down below, or social, you could put the link in the chat. I have a school course too, and I'm building a community on school of people that want to support me on the one hand, but on the other hand want to train pretty hardcore in the techniques that I'm teaching, and to build a community where everyone's talking about those techniques and learning from each other's sort of struggle to do the training, right? And once we get about 100 people, somewhere between 100 and 200 people in that school course, then we can start sponsoring each other to go into long-term retreat, which is my long-term goal with the school course crew. So the way this would work, for those of you who are interested, is like this. So let's say that you wanted to go into a retreat, but your expenses for half a month in your household, let's say it's $1,000 US, right? Let's say that the cost of the retreat plus half a month's expenses was going to cost you $1,000. That's, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money to put together, especially when you're going to be gone for 2 weeks. You're not going to be making money for those 2 weeks. So how do you afford to do this? If you wanted to do 2 weeks of retreat and gain much deeper experience of your practices, well, if you had 100 other people that were willing to chip in $10, that's $1,000. Now you can go into retreat for 2 weeks, right? So I'm trying to build a community of people that are serious enough about their practice that they're willing to help other people go into retreat throughout the year. So all the people that are part of the school course, I'm building that into a community of people who eventually, once we get enough people, will support each other in doing more serious retreat, week long, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week retreat. Yeah. And so you can do this once again in the midst of your real life. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, check out the school course. Um, okay, in the chat, Chogyam Trunkpa. I don't have much to say. I've seen some of his students, and they say that he was the right thing at the right time. But I don't have much to say about Chogyam Trungpa. He's not on the list of people that I recommend. We'll say that. Okay. lots of other teachers in the Kagyu and Nyingma tradition who I would recommend, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay. Okay, so now let me just. Oh, wow. My friends, we've talked so long today. We're 7 minutes from 9:30. How did that happen? And I have a phone call at 9:30 with Neil. I can't actually hang out and just pretend like it's all okay. Oh my goodness. Will Oates, will you put the Discord link in the chat? Nobbit, if you will reach out to me on Discord, I can help you find a good Kagyu teacher or a good Nyingma teacher, either online or in real life nearby you, if there is one. Okay? Kagyu is fantastic. If you get good lineage of Kagyu, Kagyu is really good. Same thing, Nyingma, really good, if you get good lineage. And I'd be happy to help you find one, if we can find one that's close to you, or a digital one that is good quality. Yeah. So last bit then. I've got a few minutes. So sorry we didn't make it to actually doing any practice today, which I don't like at all. So I'm really sorry that happened. But since we've only got 5 minutes, let me tell you this. So the stuff that I don't teach was something I was going to talk about. The stuff that I don't teach much of the body stuff. I don't teach much of the energy stuff. So the body stuff is really interesting because meditation, a lot of people don't know this, but meditation changes your body. Your body becomes different if you meditate. And all sorts of things happen to your body. But one of the things that happens if you get quite good at meditation is that the body should become more relaxed, a little bit more flexible, and even should in some cases it'll become more strong, at least for a period of time. So some of the great masters of China and India invented systems. And so this would be like the Lohan system that, again, I'll pop into the chat one more time. Lohan Palm, which is what I'm sort of hyping at the moment. So Lohan Palm is one of these systems that comes out of China that has a full body training system that also has a martial art, of course, but has a full body training system to make the body more like it will be after you've become an accomplished practitioner of meditation. So it makes you more flexible, more strong, more physically aware, changes how you breathe, makes the organs in your body healthier, increases the strength and sort of youthfulness of the fascia inside your body so that things move around properly. And so this allows you to basically stay younger for longer. You have more youthfulness for a longer period of time, which allows you to train a longer period of time as long as you don't get hit by a bus. Furthermore, if you make the body more like it will be when you have concentration, this has a feedback effect where it's easier to concentrate because the body doesn't get in the way of the concentration. Again, raise your hand, so to speak. Raise your hand if you've ever had your body become an obstacle to your training and seated practice. I have, right? So these systems designed by Shaolin and there's a number of other ones through the Taoist traditions and so on and so forth. They were designed to make the body comfortable and perfect for meditation. By the way, the physical yogas that come out of Hinduism that are now $1 billion or like $1 trillion industry, those were originally designed to make your body better for meditation. Then there's another layer, which is some of you have already reached out to me and said that because of the way that I train body scanning meditation, that you've started to feel that, you know, you feel stuff on your forehead or the top of your head or the back of your head or your tailbone or other places. Yeah. I mean, this is the same thing that happened to the great yogis over the course of time. They're putting their minds in their body and they started to notice, you know what? There are places in my body that if I put my awareness in them, things happen to my body and things happen to my mind. These are called chakras. And they're real things, right? Now, whether or not there is a actual subtle body and whether or not there are actual substances that run through that body is actually not that important. What's important is that from a subjective point of view, in terms of your experience, when you place the mind in the body in certain places, you feel movement there. You feel substances there. You feel stuff happening in those places that feels more than in other places in the body. That's point number one. Point number two is if you start using those points and using those substances as best you can by moving them around, storing them, refining them, changing the quality of them, etc., etc., once again, it starts changing your body. To give you a parallel to this, although it's not exactly the same, they've done experiments in people that are recovering from surgeries and so forth, that just visualizing playing basketball, for example, makes their muscle tone of a person who has to lay in bed for a long time, it makes their muscle tone better. And even things that they've never trained to do, if they visualize doing it and imagine doing it while they're stuck in a bed, when they get out of the bed and they try to do it, their body has already prepared itself to do it. So there are these incredibly sophisticated systems that come through Shaolin, that come through Taoism, that come through Buddhist Tantra, in which you're learning how to basically store, move around, enter, exit, etc., all of these places in the body where there's interesting things happening to make it as vague as possible. Okay? And when you do this, it changes your body in the same way that various kinds of exercise change your body. And because your mind and these energy things and these subphysical substances and the body, because these three are connected, when you change the middle piece, the subphysical system, it changes the mind and it changes the body. So, as Neil was saying on the podcast, you can work with the body and you'll affect the energy system in the mind. Or you can work with the energy system and change the body and the mind. Or you can work with the mind alone, which is mostly what you do in a Buddhist sutra context, in a sort of standard Buddhist presentation of how to train and stuff. If you're not doing it the Shaolin way, for example, or the Tantric way, then basically you just work with your mind, and you do so much work with your mind, it changes the energy system and it changes the body. The brilliance of systems like Lohan is they have worked out, one, how to make the body comfortable for meditation right now. Two, how to make the body comfortable as you get older so that you have a longer timeline in which you can do your practices. And three, they're working with every aspect of your being, your mind, the energy system, and the body, all moving in the same direction for the first time in your life. So this is faster. This is much faster than just working with the mind, because the body is becoming less and less of an obstacle. The energy system's becoming less and less of an obstacle. And then they start turning the corner and all three are headed the same way, right? So this is why I have been so excited to be working with Neil and helping him launch this course, because the popular Hindu yoga systems that are out there will make you physically stronger. They'll make you healthier. They'll make you more flexible as long as you don't do too much and screw yourself up. Right? A lot of people get injured doing yoga. This system has hundreds of layers in addition to those couple of layers that you get from the Hindu yogas that are now popular. Those layers might be there in the traditional systems for training in Hindu style yogas, but they're not in the popular systems. In this system, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of layers of how to work with yourself and improve yourself at a more and more refined level. So if you want to go way down the rabbit hole to make every aspect of your being head the same way, cannot recommend something like Lohan Palm or other similar systems coming from the Chinese health arts, as long as it's a good lineage. Once again, lineage is everything. As long as it's a good lineage, cannot recommend them highly enough. So, on that note, my friends, dear ones, I must actually now hop on the phone with Neil. If you're interested in that course, sign up to the pre-launch list that is on the first page of the lohanpalm.com. Sign up to the pre-launch. Let me know where you're at in terms of these kinds of practices. Let me know so that Neil and I can figure out what prices make the most sense and so on. Also, just to let you know, the first 50 people that sign up, we're thinking right now, at least, we're thinking we're probably going to give the first 50 people 50% off for 3 months. Just because we want to get people in the door, and we need people to help us figure out, okay, what's working, what's not working. Do we need to add more detail here? Do we need to change the first video? Blah, 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 blah. So those first people are really going to be helping us refine the whole system, right? Refine this teaching system, which will primarily be online, right? Okay. Having said all of that, thank you all for being here. I've got the special mug today, so I can do my customary salute. Hope to see you all again soon. Try not to die before I do. Cheers.